Okay, we're up to Tesayin Amid Aleph, and we're going to continue with Agarata concerning the Megillah. So we said yesterday that the Megillah, that Shem Shai was the Seifer, he was anti-Semite, he was trying to erase it, and Gavriel didn't allow him to it. So he said that following, Amar Ravasi Dorsha Shiloi Ish Kvar Tamrasa, at the top line of Tesayin Amid Aleph. Umaksav Shalamata, Shal Schus and Shal Yisrael. Ksav that's in this world that discusses the Schus Yisrael in a Nimchak. It doesn't become what? It doesn't become erased. Ksav Shalamayla, Ksav that's written above, like Kol Shekain, that it won't become erased. Now, again, what I'm using a sefer that's reading the whole pasuk, so I give you a whole like little overview. What was done for Mordechai regarding this? Nothing was done to him. Now it's mashma over here. Just 1 second.
Dead fish in the mailbox.
Okay, so we see that it seems like nothing was good. So mashma, the people who were trying to endear themselves to Chashverosh, they're such good guys. They want Mordechai to go ahead and get on the good side of Merav. No. It's not because they love Mordechai. They hated Haman. So to go ahead and put Haman in his place, Haman thought he's going to get all this glory, that going on the horse and so on and so forth. Then they didn't care that Mordechai got it. They just happy that Haman didn't get it. So we're Tezayin Amid Aleph. Pasuk says, "V'Haman ba leimar lemelech litlo." Says Mordechai eitz asher heichen loy. And obviously Haman comes in with such a happiness, mamish. He just built a gallows 50 amas high, and he's going to bring in all this. He's coming in to say to hang Mordechai on it. He walks in the door, and it says Asher Heichen Lo. So Tana Loy Heichen. In fact, it wasn't Heichen for Mordechai, but Loy Heichen. It was Heichen for Haman. In fact, the Medrash says that Haman went for the measurement. They wanted measuring to see if it would work. So and he went ahead and used it to try it out. And guess what? The shoe fit. That's what happened. So the Asalite came Mordechai. Go ahead, go to Mordechai. And the pasuk says, "Ayoshi, Ayehudi Ayoshi b'Shar Melech." So why did it have to be so explicit? V'amalei Achashverosh, Manu Mordechai. So when Achashverosh said, right, and Haman said to him, "Which Mordechai are you talking about that I should do this to?" So Amalei Achashverosh said, "Ayehudi, the Jew." Amalei said, "Haman, Tova Mordechai, you could be Yehudi." Mordechai is a common Jewish name. So Amalei Ayoshi b'Shar Melech, the Mordechai that's sitting in Shar Melech. So Haman said, Sagila b'chad diskarta. You don't have to go ahead and give him some glory, putting him in the king's clothing and dressing him and walking around. It would have been enough to go ahead, go ahead and give him a little piece of the action from a village, little taxes, or inami b'chad nara, give him a river. You don't have to give him what? You don't have to give him so much. This glory of going around. Samlei Achashverosh says, you know what? Hanami havlei. Because it says, "Al taped dava mikol shedibarta." Don't let anything be missing from all that you said. So all that you said, you give him the tax break, and you give him the river, and you give him in addition, you give him the horse and ride around, and you announce kochi asalish that mean that what? Now just be aware, we don't focus. This whole thing about walking around and saying this is done to the man that the king wants to go ahead and give glory to is Achashverosh's way of perhaps finding out what exactly the plan was by the party. Remember, the conversation that led into this was his paranoia about waking up. 1 second, they want to kill me. I got to find out something. And so this all is a means of, if people see this is what you do to the king, who the king wants to honor, imagine that if we know the plot to kill him, what they would get for going ahead and spilling the beans. We don't think about that. That it's free here. You never thought about that. That was the point behind it. It's the segue from the Daf, guys, right? It's a beautiful segue. That this was the plan. If people see that this is the glory, so if the Samataka knows something, they would reveal it to Mordechai. So Achashverosh. So it wasn't so much that he wants to give Mordechai such glory. It's a hechet timsa of going ahead and finding out if there was such a plan. It's a very, very nice shot that perhaps we don't focus on. Okay. Now the pasuk says, Haman took the lavush and he took the ksus, he took the horse and he took the clothing. By the way, guys, great trivia question. from Rabbi Matis Blum Zeichet Tzaddik Kodesh Levracha. What was the name of the horse?
Schiffer guys.
What?
Mr. Ed.
Schiffer guys.
How'd you know?
It's a Targum Shani.
Who taught it to you?
I'm looking right at him.
There you go. There's certain people who are Jeopardy people, and they hear a good piece of trivia, they don't forget it. He's sitting on your upper right, my upper left. It's a Targum Shani, it's Shufra guys. His name was Shufra guys. Yehuda, you never cease to amaze me. Baruch Hashem.
I don't remember what I had for dinner last night.
Yeah, anyway, Shufra guys, the name of Mordechai.
Definitely not Mr. Ed.
David, a great question for the kids in yeshiva, you know? Go home and ask your father, what was the name of Mordechai of Achashverosh's horse? It was Shufra guys. It's a Targum Shani. Yeah, there's a Targum Shani on the Megillah. What? Why would they have a name for a horse? Every horse has his name. Seabiscuit. You never heard? Man of War, Secretariat. Come on. Trigger. Roy Rogers' horse is Trigger.
Ed.
Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed. I can't come and say Mr. Ed. No one recognizes that.
Yeah, Mr. Ed. Okay, that's another great trivia question. What type of horse was Mr. Ed?
A Palomino.
That is excellent. I wish you all guys know your Torah as well as this. It's unbelievable.
Actually,
what is a
Actually,
Palomino?
my Rabbi taught me that as well.
You remember that?
Yes, from you, Rabbi.
I have to give you all my Michigats. And who was who did the Mets draft number 1 in 1962? Okay, anyway, Hobie Landreth. Now says Vayikach es Haman es Alvush v'Saksus. So he took Azal Ashkeche the Yasir Rabbanan Kamei. He finds Mordechai sitting in the gate, and he sees what? He sees the Chachamim sitting there with him. Umachvalahu Hilchas Kamitza, and he was showing them Hilchas Kamitza. For those of us who may not be aware, the Karban Mincha would be taken, and just as Shchita was to what? To the Karban of Dam, Kamitza was to the Karban of what? Of Mincha. Kain would take a sand, put it in like this, and whatever's between these fingers, you would go like this and this. That's Kamitza. You'd burn that on the Mizbeach after putting it in a Kli. So he was illustrating that. Now, why was he illustrating that? Guys, fascinating Rashi. This is geschmack as anything. Says Rashi, why was he showing them Kamitza? Third line from the top. Doirish binyan shel yoim. He was darshaning the halachas of the day. V'shisha asa b'nisan haya. It was the 16th of Nisan. Remember, we said you're going to fast for 3 days. He went ahead and he said you could fast on Pesach. We spoke out yesterday the Torah about the Kaiseves and the Kesayas of Matzah. The 16th day of Nisan, guys, you bring the Karban Omer. The Karban Omer is brought from barley. It's a Kmitza. So therefore, since it was the 16th day of Nisan, even though the Beis Hamikdash wasn't around, he was telling them the halachas of Kmitza. That he's telling the halachas of Kmitza. Keeping the Chazei Mordechai Dafik the Kabei Besusei Mechad Biyadei. Since Mordechai saw that Haman was coming, right? What did he do? Mirsis, he got scared. Amalu, he told Mordechai said to the Rabbanan, to the Chachamim, Hi Rashil and Mikdal Nafshi Kasi. Russia's coming to kill me. Zili Mekameg, run away. You shouldn't get burnt by his gachelas. You shouldn't get caught up in his hatred for me. Like he shaita nisatev Mordechai. Mordechai, as soon as he saw Haman coming, what did he do? He nisatev, he put a talus around himself. Become like Tzelusei, and he got up to daven. Also Haman v'yaseh lekamayo. Haman went and he sat in front of him. Ad the solik uMordechai Tzelusei, and he waited till Mordechai finished. Amalahu said, Haman b'mayas askisu. What were you busy with? Amalai told him, "Bisman sebeis hamikdash kayim, man the menadev mincha. A person will be menadev a korban mincha." So obviously, he wasn't speaking about the minchas of the omer, but the minchas tamasai ma'asig molei kumsa the sulta. He'd bring what a molei kaimitz of soiles, the mischaper, and he would get a kapara. So Amalahu Haman said, "Asa mila molei kumse kamcha dihu. A mili kaimitz of your flour is going to go ahead. The dachi asara alfei kika kas b'didi." It's going to push away what? The 10,000 talents of silver that I gave to Achashverosh to kill you. I guess a bit of Ruach HaKodesh was Shira and Haman. Amalei, Russia. Evet shekane nechasim, evet l'mi, and nechasim l'mi. As he spoke out yesterday, that beautiful Yalkut Shemoni, that Haman was an evet to Achashverosh, so really had nothing to give. getting back to the Megillah, Amalei Haman said, "Kum levush ha'ani mani, go put on this clothing. U'rechayiv haisushi and ride this horse. The boy lecham malka, if the malka wants, that's the request. So Amalei Mordechai said to him, Lo yechilna, I'm not able to. To put on the king's clothing, I have to go ahead and take a bath. Again, he was wearing sackcloth, and I have to take a trim. I have to take a haircut. It's the love orach ari l'shtamushi b'money de malka hachi, because it's not the derech to go ahead and be mishamish with the king's clothing this way. And now Esther was in on this fix, and Shadra Esther ba'asrinu l'kuli beit bani. Esther had closed all the bathhouses, or l'kula money and all the right. But again, obviously, you know that the Ruach HaKodesh, she was in the Neviah. Anyway, she closed all the bathhouses, and she had closed all the barbershops. So so there was no bathhouse attendant, but Mordechai went into the base of Merchas, but Aschei and Haman washed him. Haman went home and got a zug, a scissor, because Shoki Masi was giving me a haircut. But how did it what? It was Chalamoid. So he had a halacha, Chalamoid. If a person gets out of prison, right, he's able to take a haircut. So Heshi's asking, how could he take a haircut? Because the 4 people could take a haircut. So he would be in Begeda, he was sitting beside Be'ephraim, be permitted to take a haircut. He's no worse than a person that gets out of prison. I don't know if that's one of the reasons that you could take a haircut on Chalamoid. Doesn't say. So the person gets out of prison, the person comes from overseas, and it did. So therefore, when he was giving a haircut, in Gid, he gave a big groan in the Isnach. Amalei, my come is nachas. Mordechai is the Haman. Why are you groaning? Amalei said, "Gavra davi chashalei l'malkem mikulei ravavani." I'm the head honcho over here. Hashel l'shavei baloni v'sap. And now all I am is a bathhouse attendant and a barber. Amalei Mordechai put a little, salt on the wounds. Russia. He said, weren't you the barber of the village of Kartzim for 22 years? Tana Haman Sapishal Bar Kartzim Hoya Esem Shtay Shana. He was for 22 years. He was a barber. After he finished his haircut, he dressed Mordechai in the royal garments. Amalei Haman said, "Sach urchav, go up on the horse." Amalei Mordechai said, "Lo yechilna, I can't. The kachisha chiloi mimei tanisa. I've been fasting for 3 days, and I Pasha don't have the ability to get on the horse." So Gachin, so Haman bowed down, Vesolik, and Mordechai went on top of him, and Kisolik, as he went on top of it, Boy kicked him. Amalei. So Haman said that like Kasivle doesn't say bin pole vecha al tismach, when your enemy is falling, you shouldn't be happy. Amalei says Mordechai, Hani Mili, that's be Yisrael. I will be ditchu when it comes to people like you, Ksiv, Viata al Bameseno Tidrach, and you are in high places, you'll be trampled. So in other words, Haman breaks out his little knowledge of Hebrew. He's playing like with the wrong guy, right? He's playing with the wrong guy. Anyway, the pasuk says he's riding on the chamor. The yikru lefonav kocha yosel yishasha melech tzpikorei. So was done to the person that the melech desires to go ahead and show cover to. Ki havinaked vazal b'shvila debeit. Haman, he was walking by the streets by the house of Haman. Chasi barte dekami igra. His daughter was looking. She was on the roof. Savra haida rachiv avuad, the haida maske kamei Mordechai. That who was riding the horse Haman, and who was leading the horse Mordechai. Shoklat sitza. She took the chamber pot that was full. Bekise the shadisi areshu davu, and threw it on the father's head. Dala Ene lifted up his eyes. V'chazi davu. She serviced the father. Naflami Igra la'ara. She fell off the roof of Mason. She died. For some reason, everyone knows this. If you never learned the Gemara, everyone knows this, right? 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 V'hainu d'chsiv v'yisem Mordechai el Shara Melech, and Mordechai went ahead, and he was sitting in the Shara Melech. Now he went back to Shara Melech. Some of Sheshes Sheshav l'Sakal Tenisle. He went back to what? Sakva Tenisle. He went back to where he was. What? Why not?
Why would he go?
The Gezerah was still in place. Gezerah was still in place just because. In other words, sometimes you get a brief respite. Doesn't mean you shouldn't go back to, the status quo. So he went back. And Havel went home. Avel, he was an Avelis with a Chafi Rosh. His head was covered. Avel al Bitoi. As an available by his daughter, the Chafi Roish al Sheirulai. The fact that what that happened to him. And Haman told Sarah, his wife, and all the people love him, is called Shekro. So he said, it starts off Ayavav, and then it says Vayomulo Chachamav Sarah's Ishtay. I was going to say Korlo Ayavav. The pasuk starts off calling him is Ayavav, and Korlo Chachamav. In the end, it calls him what Chachamav. It calls the Chachamim. What happened? Rabbi Yochanan Kolay Midav Chachma. Anyone says it's Dav Chachma, I feel a boom even among the nations of the world. Nikra Chachma is called the Chacham. Now, what was the Chachma here? In Bisera Yehudim Mordechai. If Mordechai was from Bisera of Yehudim, now what do you mean if Mordechai was Bisera of Yehudim? Like Sucha, like Hinafal Tipal Lochanim. Of course, he was from the Zera of Yehudim. What are they saying? He was a Jew. So, what do you mean if he's Zera of Yehudim? You're going to fall into his hands. So, Amulei, here's the Chachma. If Mordechai comes from a majority of Shvatim, you'll be able to overcome him. However, Imi Shevet Yehuda Ubinyamin for Ephraim Umenashe, then lo yachloslei. So then you won't be able to come. So if Yehuda means he's from Yehuda, or some of the Shvatim, Yehuda, how do you know the Chsiv? Yodcha b'Erevecha. Parshas Vayechi says your hand will be against the nape of your enemy. The Enoch, the other Shvatim, the Chsiv, who it says Lifnei Ephraim Ubinyamin Umenashe, Oyro Eskur Secha, right? So and if that their gevura will be aroused. So if the gevura of Ephraim ben Namin Menashe is aroused, he won't be able to overcome them. So it wasn't any Jew, only specific shvatim. So the pasuk it said, if in Misera HaYehuda Mordechai Lasucha like Kinafel people double lashon, Kinafel people lefanav Darish of Yehuda bar Aloi Shtein nefilas halalu. What's the double lashon? Lama says Amlei Chacham Tet Haman Umazu. This nation Yisrael, they're compared to what? To the dirt. As well. Kodesh Baruch Hu told Avram Avinu, "V'samti esaracha kafar aretz." U'moishlan lekechavim. It says, "U'safar kechavim im tu chalis parsam." Koi esaracha. Kishen yordim, when they yored, they yordim ad offer. They go down to the offer. However, kishen oilam ad lekechavim. So that's not, and that's lashon nafel tipo, right? With kishat tipo Mordechai. Yale, Vizute Avurecha can feel full. You know, it's when you go ahead and people Mordechai, he's going to be up, so you're in trouble. The Sarisi Amelech by Avhilu, as they were talking, the messengers of the king arrived by Avhilu Lehavius Haman, and they lashon of Behola. They were in Behola to bring Haman. So they do quickly, but over here Haman wasn't such a Behola. He still was full of chambered pot stuff. He was not in very, he wasn't wearing his tuxedo, put it that way. And Nishka hat kind of geschmack schmeck. He was not smelling that good either. He wasn't wearing his English leather. Malamed sheheviu bebahol they born bebahol with palchad and he nimkru ani van mi ki einat soshove benezach melech. So Esther says ki nimkarnu ani van me. I've been sold ki einat soshove melech. What do you mean that the enemy is not equal to Nezek and Melech? Amalei Esther said to Achashverosh, "Sir, this enemy Haman Zeh ain't a shavah b'Nezek shel Melech. He doesn't care about the king being damaged. Why? Ikni bevashti. He was jealous of Vashti, right? She was so beautiful. Ukatala, and he had her killed. Bahashte ikane b'didi. Now he's going ahead, what? And he's mekanami mi boile mikdali and wants to kill me. So that he's reminding Achashverosh of Vashti and what Haman did there. Vayomala Memuchan, right? Memuchan is Haman, and he gave the advice to kill. It was true.
No, it wasn't killed. But she said Monday with the police that Haman wants to kill me Esther.
Haman killed Vashti.
We know that. Yeah.
And now it's second and wants to kill me.
So she's kind of like took liberty saying that, although that
why he's Jewish. He's Jewish.
Because she's Zera Yehudim.
Yes. Okay, Vayom Melech Achashverosh, Vayom Esther Malka, Vayom. Now it says a double lashon, guys. Vayom Melech Achashverosh, Vayom Esther Malka. Why Vayom? So Amar Rebbe Vo says Vo B'tchila, right before Esther told Achashverosh who she was from, Al Yedei Turgimin. Then he spoke Barabim Al Yedei Meturgimin. However, Kivan once she was Megala and she came from Shol HaMelech, Amalei Midivei Shol Kasina, then Miyad Vayomeles Namalka spoke directly. It seems Barabim he spoke al Yidei, a translator, and when she found out that Esther was royal lineage, he spoke directly. But Tamer Esther Ish Sarva Oyev Haman Hara Zeh, right? What's the lashon? Amr Abalaza Milamed She Hoysam Machve. Again, lashon Hazeh, guys, Hazeh, right? Hazeh Milamed Hoysam Machve Klape Achashverosh. She wanted to point to Achashverosh. Uba Malach Vesata Yoda, and Malach came and pointed Klape Haman. Very modern thing that right. Why would you want to do that? So I saw the Gra. The Gra spoke out that a person, what they have in mind, they're going to go ahead and act upon. And when she was speaking about the evil, she knew that Achashverosh is part of the evil. So without thinking, she was going to really point to Achashverosh until the Malach took care of things and pointed it to Haman. And he ran into the garden. And then he returned. So now he went into the garden, he was angry. He returned, he was angry. But Shemakish Hashiva is returned Lakima to his going. Makima, when he got up to go Bechema, was with anger. Afshiva Bechema, when he returned, was anger. Listen to this. The Ozil V'ashkel goes to the garden. Again, he's angry. And he comes to the garden. And what does he see? Lamalchi Ashares, the download Kigavre. So Malach Hashem, they look like gardeners. Because Akre Liloni de Bustane, what were they busy doing? They were uprooting his beautiful orchard. For Amulei, he screamed at him, what are you doing? So Amulei said, 1 second, the Pagidna Haman. Haman told us to do this. Haman told us to do this. So now he went ahead angry, now he's running back in angry. And Asla Besa, he's coming, he's really angry. Now, comes in, what does he find? Haman Neifel al Amita. Now, Neifel is the Lashon Neifel, constantly falling. It doesn't say Nafali fell. Neifel is the Lashon, it's Hove. If Neifel al Amita, She Esther Laha. So Neifel, it means it should not Nafal me boile. We just had yesterday, guys, Kosav Kaisev. It should have said Kosav, it says Kaisev, that was constantly being written. So too over here, it should be that fallen, but it's constantly fallen. No. So Rebbe Laza says Rebbe Laza, Melamed, that Haman wanted to get up, but Malach for people love. Malach came and knocked him down. He wanted to get up, knocked him down. In other words, he was in constant state of being knocked down. So he wasn't able to get up. Now Achashverosh comes back from the garden. He sees Haman lying in the bed. Amar, Vaid mi besa, vaid mi bara. Woe to my house, and woe from mechutzla, outside the house. Right? Vayom HaMelech hagam luchbosh es hamalka imi v'bayis. You want to go ahead and capture literally my wife from my house. Vayomer Charvona. Now Charvona is also Nishkain Tzaddik, but Charvona happens to say, oh, by the way, guess what? Gama eitz asher asa Haman lemordechai go v'chamishem ama. Amar Veloza af Charvona Rasha. Acharina was a Rasha. Now he had a chance to kill Haman. Hoya, right? Then he knew to join the bandwagon. He knew to switch sides. Charvona initially got to know when to fold him, right? So Charvona, who hadn't been no Nishkan Grace at Tzaddik, he now says he sees that the Haman has lost his luster, right? And he says, "Oh, look at that!" Like since he saw that Haman's Eitzah will not be Mekayim, Miyad Baruch, immediately he runs. Behind the Chsiv, Vayash Lecha Alav V'Layachmon Miyadai Beruach Yivrach. Hashem is matched the Kapanis in Russia, Li Rachmanis. Okay, it says Vayitlu es Haman ala Eitzah Asher Hepen LeMordechai. They hung him, right? The Chamas HaMelech Shekacha, and the anger of the king subsided. Now it should say Shacha with one chaf. It says a double chaf. What is two? So what? He was appeased 2 ways. Achash Malka Shaloilam, right? One, Hakadosh Baruch Hu was Michael Yisrael on their Averis. The Achashverosh, and one was Achashverosh Shchacha. Is going when it says the Chamas Hamelach Shchacha. The Melech is a euphemism for Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and for what? For Achashverosh. So one is Hakadosh Baruch Hu is not angry at Klal Yisrael anymore, and one what? That not angry at, and Achashverosh is not angry at the Jews. They're both going Achashverosh, Achashalesta, Biachashal Vashti, and those are the 2 ways he was what? He was mollified. Okay, the Gemara now digresses. right? It says the kulam nasan ish khalifa ismailais. When Yosef finds out that his brothers and he revealed himself and he's going to send them back to Yaakov, to all his brothers he gave a switch of clothing, and Binyamin he gave 5. So Fred Gemara Efshe Davish and it's started by Yosef Tzaddik on the days he cashed boy. In other words, he caused in the first place it was jealousy caused what him to be sold to Mitzrayim. Now would he go ahead and cause this jealousy again? Because of the weight of 2 saloyim of melas, a very fine wool. Shahaysev Yaakov Yosef by giving him the Signis Pasim, right? Lisha Achiv that Shahaysev Yaakov Lisharachiv in the Skalgal Dov of Yodav in Mitzrayim. Why would he repeat it? Some Binyamin Vayefes Remez La Yosef is being Ramez to Binyamin, and this is why it's put in here. Shasid Ben Latzis Mimenu, where Ben's going to come out of Binyamin. The Yotzim Lefnei HaMelech, and go out with the king, the Chamesh Levush Malchus. Shenemar Mordechai Yotza Lefnei HaMelech, Bishvush Malchus, Tcheles, Mon, Chur, 2, Ateres, Zav, 3, Zav Gedoyla, V'tachris, Putz, 4, V'agavan is 5. So in other words, the 5 clothing that he gave Binyamin is a remnant to the descendant of Binyamin, probably the most famous descendant of Binyamin, who was the Shul or Mordechai. And so now, since we're speaking about Mordechai, about Mitzrayim, we're speaking about Yosef and Binyamin, the Gemara goes ahead and continues this digression. And when you're learning Agatha, for some reason, you never mind digression.
Right. When you're learning from Shirash, you wonder why are all these members coming from Megillah?
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Because he's all down.
Of course.
Why are they coming from Megillah?
Vayipol al Savarov, Binyamin, Achiv. Yosef fell on the necks of Binyamin, his brother. How many necks? Yeah. How many necks did he have? Savari is necks. So Kamet Savarim Hayoloi Binyamin, Samar Belaza, Bachal Shnehan Migdash, Shnei, he's crying about the 2 Batei Migdash, Shasid Liyos Bechelka Shel Binyamin, which will be in the Chelik of Binyamin. Basidali Choref, Binyamin Bachal Savarov, and Binyamin was crying on the neck of Yosef. Obviously, Bachal Mishkan Shiloh, he was Bachal Mishkan Shiloh, Shas Liyos Bechelka Shel Yosef, Vyasa L'Chayr, which will be in the Chelik of Yosef, and but it's going to be destroyed. We just spoke about that. Pasuk by Yosef says, he sees that your eyes will see my eyes, Achi Binyamin. Kipi hamidaber aleichem. Amar Belaza. Amalehem kishem shein belibi al Binyamin Achi. Just like I have nothing against Binyamin, my brother. That because he wasn't Rabbi Mechira. Kach ein belibi aleichem. So I don't hold anything right against you, my brothers. Right, that you sold me. Kipi hamidaber aleichem. Kipi is kafi. It's according to Rada Kodesh Baruch Hu, that just like I don't have any kas, Cain believe. Just like I'm not no afa and no anger, so too I have nothing against you. Well, Aviv Shalach Kizais Asarach Hamorim Noisim Mituv Mitzrayim, and to his father Yosef sent the best of Mitzrayim, Tuv Mitzrayim, my Mituv Mitzrayim, Amr Binyamin, Vayefes, Amr Belaza, Shalach Lo Yayin Yashan. He sent him Yayin Yashan. He sent him aged wine. Shedas Kenim Noichim Menu, which is good for Alta mention. And Yaakov was kind of younger man, and he had good wine. Vayechul Gam Echav, Vayiful upon his brothers also fall in his neck. Amr Binyamin, Vayefes, Amr Belaza, Hainu Dami Inshi, Tala Beidnei Sagadle. Tala is a fox. Beidnei, when the sun is shining upon him, meaning when something's good, Sagadle, they bow down to him. So the kasha is like this. Yosef answered the brothers, a fox is usually one of the, when we say a fox, it's vis-a-vis a lion. Like rather be the tail of a lion versus the head of a fox. So we're saying that here they're bowing down to Yosef. The Yosef is a fox. You know, he's like inferior to the brothers, and they're bowing down to him. Fred the Gemara right away. Why do you say he's inferior to the brothers? Right? Tala, he's right. Tala, Yosef's a Tala. Why is he any different than his brothers? Why is he less that he's considered a fox? If you want to use the chazal of Talabid and the Sagile, and it's used in Vayichi, and it's not clear there what it means. It's not clear what it means. Now you understand what it means. Watch. What does it mean? It means that Vayishtach v'Yisrael Rosh Hamita, Yisrael bowed down to the head of the bed when Yosef did his bidding. Rabbi Yamin by Yefes Rabbi Loza. That's pshat Hala beidna Yosef at that time. Sagid lay klape his father Yaakov. He was a fox, right? Yaakov was a higher calling, and he was a fox. And the fact that Yaakov bowed down to him is Tala, the fox, beidna Sagid lay. That's the Rashi and Chumash.
Rashi brings it down.
Rashi brings it down.
Yaakov, not by the birds.
And this is where it's true. Now it makes sense. The Tala, why the fox is like a less, because it's Yosef, that's Yaakov was a fox. Okay, now it makes sense. Yenachim my son Vayidaber Libam Yosef is menachim them, he comforts them, he speaks to them. Amr ben Yamin by Yefes, Amr Abelazim, Malamit Shamalem, Devar Mishem Eskavim Alev. He told them things that were they would accept. Uma Asar and Eros. Lo Yachlu Chabais Nerechad. 10 can't go ahead and take out one. Nerechad. Hayich Yachlu Chabais Asar and Eros. How could one take out 10? Don't worry about it. He told them. And it also says that the brothers came to Mitzrayim and people used to talk about Yosef like, you hear this slave, you hear? And then he came down. By him coming down, they gave this comes from a prestigious family. You see that he's not some slave. He really is something uniquely special. Okay, back to the Megillah. Unfortunately, it's ending. The Megillah is ending here, guys. See that tomorrow, that's it. Back to Gemara. La Yehudim Haisa Ayra v'Simcha v'Sasan Bikar. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Ayra Zutaira. Haman was guys that you can learn Torah, and now after it's falling, we can learn Torah. V'chein hu Aymer ki ner mitzvah v'Torah. Simcha say Yantif. Haman was guys on Yom Tovim. Now we can go back. V'chein hu Aymer v'Samachti b'Chagecha. Simcha is Chag. Sasain Zumila, that refers to a bris milah that Haman was geyser against. The chain, it says what Shuaimer Sus Anochi Al Imrasecha, that you gave me the mitzvah of Mila. And finally, Vikar is that's the tefillin. That's the covet. Covet is tefillin. The chain we find Shuaimer Vro Kalame Aretz, and all the people in the land will see Kishem Hashem Nikra Alecha, that all the name of Hashem is written upon you. V'yarmi Mecca, they'll fear you. The Tanya Rebbe Eliezer God Leimer. This is tefillin shavaraysh. So, like Yehudim Haisa Ayur v'Sasan Mikar is an allusion to the mitzvahs that Amen wanted to take away from us, and that we were zeichet to. Okay, now the 10 Aseres Yemei Haman. So so no. Let's see. I think. Where is it now? I sent it. It might be there. It's not there. Right? Yeah, you sent back to me, but okay. Anyway, if you remember the Megillah, the Haman's kids are written like this and like this, like they're written on the sides, and the middle is empty. If you think about the Az Yashir in the Torah, it's written over here. Empty over here, empty over here, full over here, empty over here. That's called bricks. So now the Gemara goes. Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says the vav of Vaizasa, that's the last son. The vav there is elongated. Sarachlin mintache biskifa. Why? Kimaradja lebrois. Like maradja is the oar. Like they used to go ahead, have an oar like to push you away from the shore, and the river was called brois. My timer. The kula bechad zechifa as the kifu. The 10 sons of Haman, guys, they were on one long gallows. They were all hung on one stick. They were all one after the other, starting from the top to the bottom. All the shiros in the Torah, kula nichtabais ariach agabe levena. They're written ariach, a brick, a half a brick on top of a full brick. The half a brick being the writing, the full brick being the empty space, and ulevein al gabe riach, or the brick on top of a riach. So that's like again full. However, chutz mishirazu, the death of Haman's sons, right? Chutz mishirazu, malchei Canaan, riach al gabe riach, ulevein al gabe riach. My timer. So this and there's two shiras. There's the shira of the death of Haman's son, and the Sefer Yeshua, the death of the malchei Canaan, which are written one on top of the other. Why my time? Now, if think about it, guys, they're one on top of each other. If they'd fall in the middle, they go all straight down. But if there be things in the middle, they would fall on top of that, whatever that means. It says Shusha Abira, they killed 500 people, right? And Achashverosh said, "Masha'ela seich v'nasin lach, Am Rabbi Vo Malamed b'malach usatroy al piv." Right? The malach came and he belted him in his mouth. Achashverosh was getting angry that they killed 500 people, and he got belted in the mouth. And all of a sudden he goes, "What else do you want? You know, you got 500." So he changed his gears. Melech Omar in a sefer Yoshem Mechashvasa Eroah Shachashav al Yehudim al Roshai. Right? Amar mi boile. It should say Lashon Zacha, since it Amra, so there should be Lashon Akeva, since S is the one talking. Rabbi Yochanan, so Rabbi Yochanan says, right, She Omar bepeh mashakosav basefer. That it teaches us that it should be said what in bepeh, what it says in the sefer. Okay, let's stop over here and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, we'll continue this tomorrow.
Thank you.